Hello friendos and randos, welcome back to another video, and today we are casting the Grand Asia Open Finals in Thailand. This is the final round of the Grand Asia Open where everyone who has topped their respective Grand Asia Opens has achieved a slot into today's tournament, including two players from yesterday's Grand Asia Open last chance qualifier in Thailand as well. So there are going to be 16 players that are going to be playing. The format is a 3-round round robin in 4 different groups. So there are 16 players. They are split into 4 different groups, A, B, C, and D. Each of these players will be playing 3 matches against other players in their groups as well, and then the top 2 players from each group makes it into the top 8 cut. Now what these players are playing for: first place at today's tournament gets an invite to the World Championship in March next year, and the second place gets an invite to the Asia Finals at the end of this year that will allow you to advance to the World Finals should you be one of the top players at that tournament. So this is a very high stakes tournament, and this is going to be high level gameplay from players that have been top at their respective regions already. Now let's head into game 1. So they do have this interesting stream format, but I will only be focusing on the main stream on the big screen here. So we are gonna look at Vespa on the blue Nami versus Spaghetti here on green purple Luffy. Now we can see green purple Luffy didn't have a play on turn 1, and now we are gonna see Hanger-san come down for Nami on their 2-don turn, and Nami now passing turn. Going back to Nami's turn for 4-don. This is PRB02 legal, by the way, which means that cards like the 4-cost blocker Mako are legal. Now we're gonna see Vespa put down a Kaya, draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards. Here we are gonna see him drop a white snake here, and he also drops the 1-cost Nami searcher, which searches for blue events. Now back to Spaghetti. He is going to be on 5-don this turn, does have that Sanji and Pudding. Now we'll see, he does go for the leader effect, setting himself Don -2, sets 2 Don active, gets 1 active Don back with that Sanjay and Pudding. Now goes for the Going Merry, draws a card, and goes for a 7k swing into the leader of Vespa. And Vespa uses the Snake Dance, gets to return a character to Vespa's hand and give 4,000 counter to his leader. So already, right off the bat, being able to be very protective of his life cards. Here we go, 3-don Sanji's Pilaf. This is a card we're gonna hope to see a lot for Vespa here, and you can see him draw that 4-cost Mako already. Now we're gonna see the 1-cost Nami come in for a attack, and this will be searching 5 cards for a blue event card. So we look at the top 5. There is Impel Down All Stars, there is Desert Spada. We're also seeing a Gum Gavel, which is a very good card. We might see him pick this as the choice, or we might see him stack it to the bottom of the deck, because these cards do go back to the bottom of Vespa's decks. And as you know, Nami players, they will want to know what's at the bottom so they can choose later. And you can see here right away, he puts the Gum Rubber Band, sorry, not Gum Rubber Band, the Usopp Rubber Band, and he wants to stack a non-counter card after that, ideally, because what Gum Rubber Band does is it mills cards from the top of your deck after. And looks like there was a mistake. He put the cards back on top of his deck instead of to the bottom. Let's be clear, Vespa was playing blue purple Luffy yesterday for the last chance qualifier and actually made first place at that tournament. So maybe just a little bit of muscle memory, but the judge has come and rectified that for him already. Does still have 3-don available, does have those Kayas that we saw earlier, and he also has another Hanger-san, and that might be the play here. Goes for the Hanger-san, rests it, and can discard 1, draw 1 card here. He looks to be discarding the Apis Searcher, so does drop that and then adds another Mako blocker to his hand, which will give him quite a bit of defense. However, green purple Luffy does have quite a few ways to rest those Mako blockers, so we're not sure if that is going to be that useful in this matchup. He goes for another Kaya here, just tapping out, because I think he isn't too worried about his face getting attacked this turn, since he does have both a Hanger-san and a 1-cost Nami to soak up those attacks. So Vespa does discard that 4-cost Mako. Now Spaghetti is aware, okay, that is going to be a card you have to play around. However, let's be clear, Thailand is a region famously known for having some of the best Nami players in the world, and I think if you follow Noel on Twitter, you know a lot of the blue purple Luffys are taking in Gion as a tech to answer these Nami players. They understand, okay, this is a real threat. This is not a meme deck. This is a real problem, and you have to play around it. You have to respect it, and they are playing that Gion. Of course, that's not an option for Spaghetti here on green and purple Luffy, but you can see playing exactly like you mentioned, Vespa not needing to use any Dawn for counter because all of the attacks were at his characters instead. And Vespa here is actually playing Zeph, so he can use that to bounce his Kaya. And this is a card that we haven't really seen in Nami builds of recently, but it looks like it's going to be a choice for Vespa's deck. And now there is gonna be that 4-cost Mako that we talked about. Spaghetti going for a search at sea. You fight pirates, looking at the top 3 for a Straw Hat Crew, Kid Pirates or Hard Pirates type card. Does get that second Sanjay and Pudding, very crucial to allow him to use his leader effect without going Dawn -1 at all. And there it is, second Sanjay and Pudding. On play this time, will be able to draw a card, which is really nice because he is on the same number of Dawn as Vespa. Now, using his leader effect on -2 gets 2 active from leader effect, and then we'll get 2 active back from Sanjay and Pudding as well, putting him at 6 active Dawn, and 2 6k attackers, leader and the 6-cost Sanji, as well as that Sanjay and Pudding available to swing this turn. Vespa only 1 Dawn active here, so not too much defenses available. However, he does have that Mako blocker available to block, and on KO will allow him to draw 2 cards, which is really important, because for those of you who aren't aware of what Nami leader does, per the rules, if your deck reaches 0, you win the game. So this is a self-mill deck. Now, there is going to be a 6k swing coming from Spaghetti into Vespa's face. Let's see if that is going to be a take for Vespa, or if he will try to counter it. It looks like we're actually going back a bit, sorry. No 6k swing confirmed yet, just turning the leader side with 7k leader exactly. So we're gonna see 3k counter required, and this just confirming Sanji and Pudding can attack, and the other Sanji and Pudding and this Nami cannot attack. So Vespa just wants to count out his counter slots correctly as well. So we're probably gonna see something like maybe take 1, block 1, and then counter the last one with that Gum Gum Gavel that we saw him take earlier. But it is going to be a block straight away to draw 2 cards, giving you more options just to see what you're going to be countering with. And that's that 7k swing from the Sanji and Pudding. And if this is countered by Vespa, we're probably going to see that big swing from this 6-cost Sanji, and that might just be taken. So here is the Gum Gum Gavel. This cuts a cut, and then you mill 2, and no, it is just going to be Zoro Drill here for Spaghetti, building out his board sideways, getting another 6k attacker for the following turn, which is always a good thing as well. Here we go. We do get a Nami from PRB02 Searcher for Spaghetti, and we're going to see that 6k Sanji swing into Vespa's leader for a 2k counter. Now, Vespa only has a Kaya as the option for 2k counter, so not sure if he will be letting that go. Instead, just chooses to take it. Does get a trigger off of life, very crucial. Desert Spada gets to draw 2 cards and then discard 1 card. So he draws into another 4-cost Mako blocker, looking to discard maybe this Snake Dance that we have fingering over that card for a bit, but also has the Love Beam as an option. While Love Beam is a very good counter card, which does let you draw a card, that only applies when you have 3 cards in hand, and Vespa is quite far away from that at the moment. We're just doing a quick deck count here. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 already! That is extremely quick from Vespa. He's already burned through 31 of his deck's 50 cards, and that's going to be really scary for Spaghetti for sure. That's so quick, thanks to the acceleration of that Nami, of that Hanger-san, of that Kaya, and of course now of that 4-cost PRB blocker Mako. Now we're going back to Vespa's turn. He is going to his 10 Dawn turn, draws 4 turn. There is going to be another Kaya available, so if you do the Nami math, 2 Kayas is 4 more cards in deck to get rid of, and that Zeph as well is gonna let you mill 2 and return that Kaya to hand. So at any point from now, Vespa can mill 10 from his deck already with the Zeph, with those 3 Kayas that he has. However, 10 slightly less than the 19 in Vespa's deck right now, but it's not too far away, and especially with those 4 cost Marcos in hand, and Vespa still has 4 life. He's very far away from losing the game still, although theoretically Spaghetti does have 4 attackers, including his leader as well. That's 5. I don't think Vespa is in too much danger. He's going to just place down 2 blocker Marcos and pass his turn with 2 Dawn open. It looks like this version of Nami is not too worried about leaving too many Dawn open. He's happy to just place down these blockers, pass turn, and then leave 2 only open. And that will be enough defense for him. And Vespa does have that snake dance that we mentioned again. And if he does use this snake dance this turn, next turn he will have 3 Kayas in hand plus that Zeph, allowing him to mill 12 cards out already. If these 2 blocker Marcos die, that will let him draw 2 twice, putting him from 19 to 15. And then he draws for turn, going up to 14 already. So just needs to mill 2 more cards and he will have victory in sight. Meanwhile, Spaghetti will just be going for that PRB Nami Searcher. Is choosing at sea we fight pirates, which is not a Straw Hat Crew type card. But it looks like game is going to proceed anyway. But just remember, guys, you can't actually do that. We are going to see Nami searched off of that SC we fight pirates, and Spaghetti desperately digging, I believe, for the 6 cost SEC Luffy. Probably wants to have that double finisher, and I guess just hasn't seen it yet, despite searching 3 times already. Alternatively, maybe he saw it in one of those early searches and just needs to get back to the bottom of his deck. So here is a 3rd Sanji and Pudding, allowing him to again draw a card. And now when he goes Dawn -2, he ramps an extra 3 active Dawn, which is insane. So there we are gonna see only 2 extra active Dawn because Spaghetti is only at 10 Dawn already, so he can't go Dawn -3 or anything to have an extra Dawn in his Dawn deck to re-ramp. Now, one Sanji and Pudding not able to attack is going to use the Going Merry stage to buff the other attacking Sanji and Pudding just in case, and make sure he can play around something like a Gravity Blade trigger to protect that Sanji and Pudding. 4 Dawn left from Spaghetti, has his leader swing, already used his leader effect, and has 2 other 6k attackers going in for an 8k swing now. Vespa only 2 Dawn open. How will he react? So there is that snake dance that we saw earlier in hand. It is just going to be a block right away here. So Vespa now on 17 cards in deck. We're going to see him pick up a Sanji's Pilaf as well as a again, not Gum Rubber Band. also Wagomu Rubber Band. Still has the word gum in it, but it's not a Gum technique. Which will allow him to mill 1 later on if he does have the Dawn for it. Now, it is just going to be a 6k swing from this 6 cost Sanji now, and this can be a 2k counter. It can be that Rubber Band we saw. Vespa counting the deck again, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, if I counted correctly, which is... no, I don't think I count correctly. That should be 17, I think. Let's count it again, maybe later. I am again losing count, but Nami is a very difficult deck to keep track of for both your player and also the casters, I guess. Spaghetti here just confirming the number of events in trash available for Vespa. Just wants to confirm how many events are already in the trash of Vespa. By the way, I believe in the TRM you aren't allowed to swap the order of your opponent's trash, so just make sure you are careful about that as well. Now we are gonna see again Vespa is reacting to this 6k swing from the 6 cost Sanji blocker, and that could be a Kaya being dropped from Vespa here, and it is gonna be -1 Kaya for Vespa, and of course Spaghetti gonna be happy to see that. That's a 7k swing from Zorojiro now, and 3 Dawn left active. There is the Snake Dance returning the other Kaya to Vespa's hand, and it's gonna be a 7k swing now from leader into the face of Vespa, and there is one more Sanji and Pudding that can attack. So are we going to see 3k counter here, or are we going to see Vespa try and take here? He does have 2 Kayas and the Zeph in hand. It is going to be a block from that PRB Marco, drawing 2 more cards, and then the Sanji and Pudding swing for 8. And there it is, a Sanji's Pilaf from life. I think that means Vespa has lethal here in the very odd sense where he can finish his entire deck. So let's see Vespa go to his turn, draws a card. I believe he should be at around 10 cards in deck right now, because he did draw 6 from the turn there. 2 Marcos as well as the Sanji's Pilaf off of life. Vespa just counting, sorry, a judge just counting Vespa's deck here. Telling him the count in Thai. I'm not too sure what that number will be. Here is the first Kaya, draw 2, discard 2 for Vespa. He does have another Kaya and the Zeph, which will allow him to mill 6. And then playing the Kaya again will be 8. Oh, he has 2 Kayas in hand. Okay, I think it's over then for Spaghetti. With the amount of Dawn available left for Vespa, he does discard 1 Zeph for the Kaya's effect, as well as a 1-cost Nami. We are gonna see another Kaya come down here. Draw 2, discard 2, putting Vespa at, I believe, 6 cards in deck now. I could be wrong again. Does drop a Impel Down All-Stars, as well as, what else? It looks like White Snake is gonna be the choice here. So does drop that. If he is at the remaining 6 cards in deck, he will see the first cards we saw in the initial search. It is 7 cards in deck actually, so not just yet. Can use Zeph to mill 2. First we're gonna see another Kaya, draw 2, discard 2, 5 cards in deck now. Zeph will mill 2, bounce the Kaya, play Kaya again, leaving him with 1 card in deck, which can get milled by the Gavel. So it is going to be 2 Love Beams discarded here. 7 Dawn left for Vespa. And actually, now that I'm looking at it, he does have 2 Gum Gavels as well as a White Snake in hand. So I don't even think he needs to do something like the Zeph here to end the game. Zeph would allow him to play another Kaya. However, I think Vespa saw in the beginning that the remaining 5 cards of his deck shouldn't have another Kaya. He's already used 1 for counter after all. And I think Vespa also needs to worry about something like Ashura in Deadman's game in order to rest his Dawn, not allowing him to get that mill out condition that he wants. So that might be what he's considering. He does have 7 Open Dawn, so he would need to get Ashura 3 times in order for like all of his Dawn, not even all of his Dawn will get rested, 6 of his 7 Dawn will get rested. I don't think that's going to be very reasonable, honestly. So I think Spaghetti is going to have to swing into face, of course, just try to end the game, but I don't think it's gonna work out for him here. Vespa just has everything available to him. He already has the 2 Gavels put to the front of his hand, and 2 White Snakes as well, and the Rubber Band. So that's like lethal so many different ways. Spaghetti just counting out like what is available for Vespa, and I think he knows that there's not much else he can do. So here we are seeing the 7k swing, and there's the Rubber Band plus 2k counter, mills 1 card, and then we're gonna see Gum Gavel plus 4k counter, discards 1, mills 2 cards as well, leaving 2 cards in deck for Vespa. We are gonna see the final Gum Gavel come down, discards 1, milling the last 2 cards of his deck, and Vespa takes game 1 in the Group A of the Bandai Grand Asia Open Final. So that is 1 out of the 3 games that he does need to win. Let's see if he can take the remaining 2. So we are gonna shift over to another game between Pipat Pum and Marco, who are playing Green Purple Luffy and Blue Purple Luffy. So sorry, it looks like we are going to see Red Green Smoker versus Green Purple Luffy instead. So it is going to be 1 Dawn on Pipat Pum's Rayleigh to swing 9k at Marco. He's already in kind of a dire situation here. Does have Thunder Bargo here to protect himself from this 9k swing. I'm assuming he is at 6k base as well. Now, Pipat Pum has a very scary board right now. There is a 6-cost Law from PRB, there is a 8-cost Mihawk, and that 8-cost Rayleigh as well. Quite a lot of control available for him. There's the Hell's Judgment here. Dawn -1 gives -3k power to both that 8-cost Mihawk and Pipat Pum's leader. So he is going to have quite a hard time trying to attack with that 3k base smoker. We're gonna see now 5 cards. SEC Bonnie does have 7 rested cards, including the 3 characters as well as the 5 Don here. So gets to draw 2 and discard 1 Don and then set 1 Don active afterward. He does drop a 5 cost smoker. And Pipapoom gets to set up 1 active Dawn now using Smoker's leader effect. 2 more active Dawn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 available for him still. Can attach 7 and go for like a big 10k swing with this 3k base power Smoker leader, but he might have counter events that he wants to keep Dawn up for. Let's see what he has here. So that 4 cost chopper blocker should still be quite a decent bit of defense. However, he may want to play around something like the Ashura Deadman's game, so might want to leave a little bit more active. We're gonna see he's holding on to 4 Dawn. This will be a 7k swing from this Smoker leader, and Marco actually quite a lot of cards in hand here, so still relatively safe in general. Looking like, I think 7 cards in hand for Marco. Not sure if I can get a proper count on that later. Both players just in the tank for a bit. This is the final stages of the game. Will be a bit difficult to make decisions here. So Pipapoom choosing to only put 3 Dawn on leader. It looks like 7 4 would be committing a little bit too much. Maybe he's worried that instead of resting the blocker with the Ashura, Marco just goes for 2 of the Dawn, so might want to leave 4 Dawn open. Maybe he has something like the Igloo event available. So quite a bit of options. I do see Igloo event indeed in the hand of Pipapoom, so that could be the angle he's going for. Still 9 minutes on the clock, quite a bit of time left. We are still relatively safe here. And it might just be a 5 cost character maybe even with these 5 remaining Dawn. However, that would mean Pipapoom needs to replace one of his characters on board here, which are all relatively powerful characters as well. It looks like it is gonna be that 6k swing that I talked about earlier. 6k into the leader of Marco. Just needs 1k counter for this swing. And remember, this was a 6k swing because of the Hell's Judgment giving minus 3k to that Smoker leader earlier in the turn. So 1k counter needed to counter out of this from Marco. On Marco's side of the board, there is 1 Zoroju and 1 Sanji and Pudding now, so he might be able to push for lethal maybe with something like 6 cost SEC Luffy if he has it. It looks like that it was already countered. I might have missed it, but it was indeed countered by Marco already, the 6k swing. So what is his play here? I do see the 6 cost Luffy, the manga rare, in Marco's hand. It may be a little bit difficult to try and push for game through the blocker as well as the Igloo counter event from Pipapoom, because that counter event does give minus power to a character for the turn, which is going to be quite detrimental for that SEC Luffy. But Marco is holding on to 6 Dawn, maybe actually going for that. He does have 10 Dawn. So first we're going to see a 7k swing from Marco into Pipapoom. Pipapoom playing Red Green Smoker, 5k base, so doesn't need to swing like even numbers to hit those magic thresholds of 2 card counters. Instead just needs 7k swings, which is of course somewhat of a specialty of Green Purple Luffy. He is going for that first swing with the Sanji and Pudding, and Pipapoom has to think how he wants to counter out of this. He still does have to play around Ashura Deadman's game, which is going to be a very real threat in this Green Purple Luffy deck. We don't know if Marco searched for it earlier in the game, since we did join in halfway through, but let's see if that is going to be available. So 7k swing here, action on Pipapoom. Will he counter this or take? He does still have 2 life. However, that SEC Luffy is very, very threatening. Pipapum just counting, making sure, yep, 10 Dawn for Mako, full on assault available with the remaining attacks. Ashura Deadman's Game is essentially 2 cost for Mako, and while he won't be able to get all of the Dawn, for example, if he has 2 of the Ashura, he can rest all 4 Dawn and still have Dawn for something like Usuhachi and rest this chopper blocker. However, that would put him at basically no active Dawn left to attack, so I don't think he's going to be too worried about that. I did see Pipapum did have some counter cards available at least, and he did play 5 cost Bonnie as well to filter, so we'll have at least some counter, I assume. You can see Pipapum is playing with Doflamingo and Roshinante Dawn. Gold Dawn, by the way. Might have invested in these right before the Jinbei ban, maybe. So it is going to be the Igloo event here, giving -2 to Marco's leader and +3 to his own leader for this battle. So here is a 7k swing from the Zorojuro now into Pipapum's leader. 4 cards left in Pipapum's hand. There is a Holy Jones I see there as well, so at least 1 break. However, that does mean if Marco does try to go for a game here, he is going to be in a very scary position. So that is going to be a block from that chopper. Remember, that is a 7k blocker for +2 +1 from being Punk Hazard type. So block +1 on that 7k swing. This GP Luffy leader is a 4k body, can attach 1 Dawn for a 6k swing. We are going to see that SEC Luffy come down, Dawn -2, sets 2 active, and then we get 1 more active from the Sanji and Pudding. 7 active Dawn remaining here. Sorry, 6 active Dawn remaining, 1 attached to that Zorojuro. Only 1 Dawn needed to make a 5k swing. It is a 6k swing here from the green-purple Luffy leader. Now, only 4 Dawn left for Marco, which means if this is all in from him, it's going to be 9-9 to try and push for lethal. However, he can still try and pivot, turn sideways instead, but it's just going to be a 7k swing instead, and we are going to leave 4 Dawn open, playing around that Holy Jones. So Pipapum going to 0 here, does pass. Marco does pass back to him. He will have all of these bodies restand and ready to attack. Remember, Pipapum did have this 5 cost Bonnie available, so I think lethal was probably not on the cards for Marco anyway. But will he be able to survive this last turn? Let's see how the attacks turn out. So Holy Jones again is an option here. 6k from the Bonnie is possible, but it is going to be really to start us off. 8k swing into his student. There is the Ashura Deadman's Game plus 3k. Now only 3 Dawn left for Marco. Holy Jones here would rest 2 of them. We're going to see another 8k swing from this Mihawk. It's looking like Marco only has like 5 or 6 cards left maybe, and let's just take this 8k swing. So this is kind of scary, I think. Will there be enough counter to get out of a 17k swing maybe from this law? But no, it's just going to be a 8k swing. Very patient play from Pipapum still, making sure he doesn't get baited, doesn't get hasty, does still have 2.5 minutes on the clock, wants to make sure that he does his math correctly. So 8k swing into Marco's leader. And if Marco does go for the Gum Gum Giant here, you can probably expect that Holy Jones to come down, because Holy Jones in this deck only 5 costs effectively, because only takes 7, and then Wrigley Smoker will be able to restand 2 Dawn afterwards. What is the play here from Marco? 3k counter, 2 hand cards, or a counter event. Did he leave enough Dawn open this turn? And slight misplay as well from Marco, by the way. He forgot to tap his stage, so if P-Purple wanted to go one more turn, had something like the Electrical Luna, Marco wouldn't have any of his characters available next turn. Could have done something like set his SEC Luffy to 8 cost, but that was not the case. I do see a Hell's Judgment available for Marco, so he could use that to counter out of this 8k swing and also reduce the power of this Bonnie, for example. Or maybe I saw it wrong and that's not the Hell's Judgment after all. It is just going to be the Ashra Disman's game again, countering out of that 8k swing. Holy Jones does rest the 2 active Dawn that we mentioned already. So that is going to be 5 Dawn rested, 2 Dawn reset as active for the leader effect. 6k swing from the Bonnie SEC, 6k swing from Reggie Smoker leader counted, 11k swing, 0 cost event plus 2k. Is that enough? That is 5k counter. Holy Jones is going in for 11, not enough for Green Purple Luffy. And Red Green Smoker takes game 1 as well. Now we are gonna go to the second round of Swiss very shortly. And I will see you guys again next time, friendos and randos. Peace out.